We'll have the safety pause first. So the auditorium here where you're seated has two entry-exit points on either side, and in case of an emergency you just move out in single file without panic and assemble on the lawn outside. The washrooms are located at the far end to the left of this auditorium in case you feel the need. And with that we'll begin the program. Dear educators, principals, faculty, respected members of the school managing committees, Dr. Pankaj Kumar from the TQM department, the TEEP team, and our expert here. Wish you all a very, very good afternoon, and I extend a warm welcome to you. We'll just go down memory lane for a couple of minutes. The TEEP program was launched in 2003 under the leadership of the then Managing Director, Tata Steel, Mr. B. Muthuraman, as a tool to enable schools to improve the quality of education so that they may offer greater value to students and create a culture of excellence to nurture the citizens of tomorrow. A formal executive committee led by the chairman of TEEP governs this program, and all the resources required for this are handled by Tata Steel. The program has, over the years, promoted excellence in education in schools located in and around Jamshedpur. The program is unique in the following two perspectives. Similar programs are being promoted by governments of developed countries, notably the US, Australia, Europe, Singapore, but nowhere in the world is there a private initiative of this kind. Inspired by the success of the Tata Business Excellence model, TEEP has been adopted from the Malcolm Baldrige criteria for performance excellence and customized to the Indian needs. The TEEP objectives, they are holistic development of students, inclusive growth of students, equal opportunity for all students, promotion of the concept of quality and performance excellence by schools in every aspect of their operation, improvement in teaching learning, improvements in the school performance, practices, capabilities and results, facilitating communication and sharing best practices among schools, influencing other stakeholders like parents, alumni for the promotion of quality and performance excellence in education. The not very popular one, that is assessment. The second is engagement, and the third is improvement. Assessments, as you all know by now, are of three types: regular, basic and saral. Regular is for the private English medium schools. Basic comes for two kinds of schools. One is for the private English medium schools who want to make an entry into this journey but want to begin at a more elementary level, so they go in for the basic assessment. And we also have the Hindi medium schools, government, semi-government, private, who think that, or who have been assessed for the saral criteria and they've already qualified it and they want to move to the next level. And we have the saral criteria for assessment, the saral assessments, which are absolutely simple and basic, and where schools can begin their journey for excellence. Saral criteria have basically been for the government, semi-government and private Hindi medium schools. So to ensure that TEEP is on the right path, we often have to hold up a mirror to ourselves. Today's session by our expert is on NEP 2020 and My School's Readiness. The National Education Policy 2020 envisions an India-centric education system and includes a number of reforms, and they are going to be rolled out gradually. Education policy lays particular emphasis on finding the creative potential of each individual, and that education cannot only develop in the cognitive capacities like in literacy and numeracy and higher order cognitive skills, but also critical thinking, problem solving, social, ethical and emotional capacities and dispositions. understanding how close TEEP's objectives are aligned to how closely they are aligned to the NEP 2020, it has become the need of the hour to stay aligned with the educational aspirations and the policies of the NEP. We have heard of Dr. Senthil Kumaran's impending visit to Jamshedpur a short while ago, and we had to make sure we did not miss an opportunity to hear him speak and learn from him. I am sure majority of the audience already know of you, sir, or know you. In fact, many of our educators have put aside their prior personal programs and they have made it here after rigorous school hours just because they knew you would be addressing the audience today. So I thank everybody for that, and we are so grateful to have sir here. So at this juncture, I would like to formally introduce you to our expert today, who actually needs no introduction, Dr. A. Senthil Kumaran, Chief Confluencer, the Learners Confluence. Let us give him a big hand. With over 3 decades of experience in the education field, Dr. Senthil has started groundbreaking work in the form of the Learners Confluence, that is an educational service in India. The Learners Confluence is an educational program focused on developing a technology platform for teachers with the goals of enhanced peer learning as well as knowledge sharing. Dr. Senthil was the Principal Counselor and Head Education Excellence Initiatives of CII Institute of Quality until July 31st, 2016. He joined CII IQ in April 2002 and till recently has been helping educational institutions to accelerate their journey in excellence in India and abroad. Dr. Senthil worked as a faculty member of the Strategic Core Group in Christ College, now Christ University, Bangalore, for 10 years before embarking on this journey with CII IQ. In his previous role, he was responsible for many novel educational initiatives, CII School Excellence Clusters, Education Excellence Program, international learning missions to Singapore and Finland, and Dr. Senthil cultivated best practices forums, a program dedicated to mutually learn from each other via national and regional summits on quality, as well as in school excellence conclaves, more than 50 in number. Most of these have been across in government-aided, private management schools across the nation. His capacity building program, training program for senior leadership team and managing committee members for educational institutions has been widely recognized in India and abroad. Some of the institutions that have taken advantage of Sir's competencies are the Central Chinmaya Mission Trust, Tata Steel, BVM Global Schools, KLE Society, NTPC Limited, CISE, that is your ICSE, CBSE, and Calorix Foundation and Ministry of Education Sultanate of Oman had also sent a delegation to get trained on these modules in India. I could just go on and on and on about Sir. He has travelled and presented in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Sultanate of Oman, United Arab Emirates, China, Finland, Japan, USA and Singapore. Over 100 institutions or organizations have been assessed on various excellence frameworks like EFQM, MBNQA, DSIT, KHTA, NABET, QMS, MBA, NAC, CII Education Excellence Framework, also the Tata Education Excellence Program and its framework, and many others. Dr. Senthil is a passionate teacher, trainer and a mentor par excellence in the education sector. So without much ado, I request Dr. Senthil to come up and address the eager and enthusiastic audience.
First of all, thank you everybody. I know that it's not an easy life for a principal or a teacher to spend a whole day at campus and then be here, to spend the evening to understand, share and learn from each other. First of all, thanks to Tata team. I call it more as Tata team because for me, I've seen the journey right from MS Patel and Kesharan to Rajiv to now to Sir. and to all these youngest person joining the team. So each one of them try to look at it, each one of them contributed and kind of created opportunity for me to be here with all of you. I was here and they said, "Ek sham hamare saath," so I said, why not let me try to share something. It was very, very interesting to basically understand some of the new initiatives which has been taken by the TEEP team, and there's still a lot of things which is still being cooked. So instead of me talking about it, I think they will surely share about it. The only thing, Vidya, when you say assessment, engagement and all, I think पहले engagement होता है, बाद में assessment होता है, फिर बाद में सोचते हैं improvement करना नहीं करना. So that's okay. I think the assessment is kind of a booth. I still remember when I came first time to do the assessments out here. It was not a very nice journey. Everybody said, "उनको क्या मालूम है? हमारे स्कूल में क्या मालूम है? ये वो." All that was very, very interesting journey. But I think I salute us for that because they have shown that persistence that ki hum, that's my mantra which I always say, lage raho. I think that lage raho mantra has always been there with them, which has carried for so many years. As Vidya said, I think it's very important for all of us in this particular hall also to understand that we are part of a journey. It's a yatra. But yatra mein kabhi it's also good to sit back, chai piyo, discuss karo, pause karo, reflect karo ki yatra mein kya theek hua, kya theek nahi hua. And every time there is going to be something new, I think we should be able to accelerate the journey. We have not read history properly because most of us are teachers. We know हिस्ट्री का काम यही है कि जो इतिहास में हुआ वो दोबारा रिपीट ना. तो पहले जो गलतियां की थी उसे हम रिपीट नहीं करेंगे, बट देन हाउ एग्जैक्टली कैन वी एक्सेलरेट द जर्नी फॉरवर्ड इज समथिंग वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. When this particular topic of discussion came up and I was here, so one of the things came up was ki, what should we talk about and what should we do in the evening with school leadership teams. And thank you each one of you for taking time off to be here once again. That's something which everybody talks about, this particular topic of new education policy. And I somehow love COVID. मेरे को कोविड से बड़ा प्यार है कि कोविड ने वो सब करके दिखा दिया जो आप और मैं एक टीचर के रूप में नहीं कर पाए. हमने 10 ट्रेनिंग करी, हमने हजारों आई डोंट वांट टू नेम कंपनीज, तो हजारों कंपनियों को बुला के ट्रेनिंग दे दी, लेकिन हमारे टीचर ने सॉफ्ट कॉपी लेसन प्लान में नहीं बनाया. हमारे टीचर ने कसम खाई थी कि हम नहीं बनाएंगे, आप कुछ भी करो. That's how the whole idea kind of came up. But somewhere एक कोविड ने ये सिखा दिया कि कोलैबोरेशन क्या होता है. क्या कोलैबोरेशन क्या होता है कि आप बनाओ लेसन प्लान, आप बनाओ पीपीटी, सब शेयर कर लें. इससे पहले होता था लोग बोलते थे मेरा वर्कशीट है, फर्क इतना ही था कि उनमें कबूतर है, आप में पैरेट है. दैट्स ऑल. इससे तो कोई फर्क नहीं होता था. एक वर्कशीट में कितना चेंज कर सकते हैं आप, कॉन्सेप्ट तो वही है, खाली कॉन्टेक्चुअल एग्जांपल्स की बात हो रही थी, व्हिच वी वर नॉट डूइंग. नाउ वी स्टार्टेड डूइंग. नाउ इवन टुडे somebody says कि can you do a projection from your mobile, एक Zoom में या एक Microsoft प्लेटफॉर्म में आप शेयर कर सकते हैं कि आपने पीपीटी को. I can't do because that's something which teachers took up quite strongly and made things happen. And that's where I said कि टीचर ही वो एक व्यक्ति है जो समाज में परिवर्तन ला सकता है. And he or she can actually bend to the time. I can tell you hundreds of stories what I have heard from teachers. The kind of abuse in some of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities the parents did to the young girls or young teachers who kind of working with them was not right. They suddenly got access to the mobile number of the teachers and the kind of things which happened was horrifying. And I think thanks to COVID again कि दिमाग खाली था तो किसी ने किसी को entertain करना था, तो टीचर को entertain करना शुरू किया, which was not right. Suddenly the experts, so-called experts, हर स्कूल में होते हैं एक्सपर्ट होते हैं, एक्सपर्ट सब्जेक्ट टीचर, एक एचओडी होता है, एक महान होता है ना, एक ब्रीड अलग ब्रीड होती है, जैसे मैं कहता हूँ नाना दैट सास वाली ब्रीड होती है जो बोलते हैं कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, that kind of a breed. That breed of people also suddenly became very very zero because all these chutku-putku young people, they knew how to play with mobile. And when technology came in, then problems started. But what worked at that time for us as a community was इनका अनुभव, इनका technology. इनका अनुभव, इनकी technology. And I think that is something very, very important. So that's where I would like to start my session first of all by saying this. Let me just see. Because they stood by the time and made sure that we had engagement with the child in our classroom. So please clap for yourself first of all. And please convey my wishes to all your team members, all your teachers from my side, saying that thank you, because we stood with time. I know that the kind of financial problems schools went through, the principals went through, the teachers went through, but we were the only community which said, which never complained, but still went consistently to engage children. I don't call learning might have happened. But engagement did happen. And if you try to look at the recent survey of NCRT which went ahead and actually talked about it, what worked, what has not worked, people never talked about, the teacher as a complaint. People only talked about the technology, access to technology, and the type of technology was the major hindrance in the online educational experience in India during COVID time. So I think as a teacher, we all succeeded in engaging. We learned. Just to give you one story, I don't know how many of you know this online school called as 21K. 21K is one of India's largest schools with 8,700 plus students, and one of the very progressive schools, because I saw a lot of schools mushrooming and they kind of mushroomed into the whole thought process, but these guys have been very, very strong. So I have the opportunity to kind of work with them, working with their teachers, particularly on online space and the psychological aspect, the emotional aspects. I get time to kind of work. So while doing the interview for one of the teachers, it was really interesting and very disturbing, because it also brought out what kind of environment our teachers were kind of working on. So in one of the schools, एक particular teacher का जब हम interview कर रहे थे बॉम्बे में, and this particular teacher was not very comfortable in the camera, हाथ में मोबाइल पकड़ के, she was very restless. तो फिर ऐसे टीचर मैंने बोला मैम आप थोड़ा सा restless, आप comfortable हो जाइए, you will log in again, we will surely interview you, because I don't find you are very comfortably sitting. So आप एक बार हमसे comfortable बैठ जाइए, फिर we will do it. So when she logged in again and I asked her कि what was the problem that you were not very comfortable? Do you think, was it a kind of a hindrance कि आप पहली बार online में कोई interview दे रहे हैं and you are restless because of that? She said, नहीं सर सब कुछ ठीक है सर. And I said, कुछ तो problem है teacher, because she was not very comfortable in the position she was sitting. तो बात करते करते आगे पता चला तो उसने इतना ही बोला मेरे को कि सर यदि आप मेरे को नौकरी देंगे तो मैं सच्चाई बताऊंगा, नहीं तो नहीं बताऊंगा, because you are persistent on this particular point. She was sitting on a kitchen slab and giving the interview because there was no wall at the home where she can show that as a background, and tiles which were put. So she cleaned the tiles and she sat down on that particular kitchen, platform, and she gave the interview. And today she is a very, very, committed teacher in 21K. But why I am giving you this particular perspective is that I said, कितने बच्चे आपके दो, where are they? They said, वो मेरे husband is taking care of because I am giving this interview and I can't travel. I have a challenge. So when I am trying to talk, why I am trying to give you this example is we really need to understand that teachers stood by the times. And I think that's something very, very important. So that's why when many people say that कि नहीं कोविड में ये हुआ वो हुआ, लेकिन कोविड में बहुत कुछ अच्छा हुआ. उसने हमारी औकात हमें बता दी कि आप क्या जानते हैं. It told us that you can still have a very simple life with minimum financials. It also told you that it cannot. So I was talking today morning to me in the office ki, how was the COVID time for you? I said we did much better than what we normally do, because we did a lot of online sessions, so I don't have to travel. So every day of my travel was actually getting cut. So I had a lot of time. So it was much better for us than many people. So why I'm trying to give you these perspectives is thanks to you and to your team which stood by the time. But before going forward, I think there is a little note. The ideas, inputs, whatever I'm giving, please try to go back and get it legally validated. Because whatever input I'm going to share with you here, these are all done through our internal researches, where we feel that these things have been tried, tested and experimented. Many of these things also started happening in our own sector. What happened? Like many people said, okay, you are trying to promote XP. I don't promote any one of the companies, particularly in forums. No. You as a principal need to take a decision what works into your curriculum framework. And if it fits into your curriculum framework and you are able to measure the effectiveness of that intervention, then please take it, otherwise don't do anything. Even if I say or anybody else says. Because you as a person knows what works into your compound work or in your terrain, which is important for all of you. Not only this, there will be certain areas which you really need to adhere to as a school when you are part and parcel of a CBSE, ICSE or any other affiliating board or the state government. So please follow those protocols. ये मत बोल देना कि हाँ सैंडल आए थे, सैंडल ने बोला था कि ये पॉइंट है, नो सैंडल ने कुछ नहीं बोला. सैंडल ने खाली अपने व्यूज दिए एंड वो व्यूज को आप जाके रेफर करिए, चेक करिए, उसके बाद आप डिसाइड करिए. Again when I said thank you COVID, the intent was कि इसी कोविड के टाइम पे एक NEP नाम की एक चीज निकली हमारे देश में. Maybe COVID था इसलिए रास्ते में लोग नहीं आए. Maybe it happened during COVID time. That's why not many people came on the streets. Otherwise, we would have had lot of tamasha on the ruckus on the road. So probably I think thanks to NEP. And whenever I talk about this NEP or NEP का discussion कहीं भी बोलता है तो लोग मेरे को क्या ज्ञान देते हैं पता है? लोग बोलते हैं सर ये है हमारी हालत NEP ज्ञान की. Because everybody is making one short song or a video on NEP. Everybody has a view. Yes, you should have a view because at the end of the day it's a policy document. And every policy can be referred to or to be looked upon by their own ज्ञान. तो जैसे ये बोलते हैं कि हर एक को हर बंदा एक्सपर्ट बना होगा, हर बंदा एक्सपर्ट बना और हर बंदा अपना अपना एक व्यू देने की कोशिश कर रहा, but not able to understand from the context, from the background where exactly it came in. And I'm sure आप लोगों ने भी काफी अटेंड किए होंगे NEP के वर्कशॉप्स, क्योंकि छुट्टियों में एक चीज हो रही थी नहीं हो रही थी, वेबिनार्स बहुत हो रहे थे. कुछ हो रहा था नहीं होता, वेबिनार्स बहुत हो रहे थे और वेबिनार्स होते होते उसमें एक चीज बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग लगती थी. जैसे ही वो वेबिनार खत्म होने वाला था उससे 15 मिनट पहले शुरू हुआ था सर्टिफिकेट 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 सर्टिफिकेट. पीपल वेर उससे ज्यादा स्मार्ट जो करने वाले थे, पहले फीडबैक भरो. जब तक आप फीडबैक नहीं भरोगे तब तक आपको सर्टिफिकेट नहीं आएगा. एंड लोगों को क्या हुआ पता नहीं, सर्टिफिकेट इतने इकट्ठे किए एंड इट वाज नॉट ओनली अबाउट टीचिंग. आई एम सॉरी टू से कि एक वर्कशॉप हुआ था इसी समय पे जिसका नाम था पेडागोजिकल लीडरशिप प्रोग्राम, जिसमें सारे लोगों को सिखाया गया था कि एपीपी क्या होता है करके. फॉर द आईसीएसई स्कूल एपीपी इज नथिंग बट एनुअल पेडागोजिकल प्लान. उसमें 5 दिन का वर्कशॉप था, उसमें भी बीच में टेस्ट भी दिया लोगों ने, काफी लोगों ने दिया. मतलब काफी प्रिंसिपल्स को सर्टिफिकेट मिले. अटेंड किसने किया पता नहीं मेरे को अभी भी. कई लोगों ने सीरियसली किया, कई लोगों ने अपने असिस्टेंट को बिठाया तुम अटेंड करो, बीच बीच में मैं कैमरा ऑन करके ऑफ कर देता हूं कि मैं ही बैठा हूं. दिस इज नॉट राइट एंड आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग वेरी. एंड सबसे अच्छी चीज जो हमारे पास हुई थी वो एक चीज हुई थी व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी, जिसने इस एनईपी को इतना धोया कि आप आते जाते किसी को भी पूछे एनईपी क्या तो एवरीबॉडी स्टार्टेड काइंड ऑफ लुकिंग एट इट. बट लेट्स ट्राई टू स्पेंड सम टाइम टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हम लोग जो यहाँ बैठे हैं हाउ मच वी नो अबाउट एनईपी. कैन वी डू अ स्मॉल एक्सरसाइज? ऑल आंसर्स आर राइट. Okay, I am giving you the answer. All answers are right because answers are based on your awareness. So there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, so I am going to show a few slides now, at least 5 slides or 6 slides, basically trying to see ki where are we. Right? If you know the answer, it's okay. Otherwise, I am there. I will kind of give you the answers to it. So the first and the fourth answer is competency-based education. What is this competency-based education? Sir, hello sir. Just give me a minute. There are one kid here, one and I. Okay. Tell me.
सर लाइट ऑफ कर दो आवाज आ जाएगी तो देन इट इज बेटर ओके फाइन सो रिफ्लेक्ट बिकॉज इफ यू नो योर आंसर आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू समथिंग उसके साथ कनेक्ट करके देखना यदि ठीक है तो ठीक है लुक एट द सेकंड वन another word abused word is this 360-degree assessment. I was talking to some of these so-called resource person, eminent resource person in the country. उनसे पूछे कि 360 क्या है? तो सर क्या है 360? हम तो ऑलरेडी वो राव सर का 360 कर रहे थे. अभी assessment भी वही 360 assessment. It is not about 360-degree assessment from that particular perspective. It is about child's 360-degree assessment. Many people I don't want to mention, but किसी लोगों ने एक कमेंट भी मारा सर कुछ नहीं फॉल्ट एनालिसिस करो अपने आप हो जाता है you know we are so conveniently trying to take up thing and this is how we killed CCE हमारे देश में एक चीज होती थी ना इससे पहले एक भूत आया था थोड़े दिन पहले जिसका नाम था CCE कंटिन्यूअस कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इवैल्यूएशन एंड हमने उसका गला बड़े प्यार से तोड़ के कहा कि क्योंकि उसको मारा किसी चीज के लिए हमने मारा उसे खाली इंग्लिश में मारा क्योंकि हमें एनेक्डोटल लिखना नहीं आता था सर वो इंग्लिश क्या लिखे सर ए दे दिया तो एक्सेलेंट एंड गुड बी दे दिया तो गुड एंड एक्सेलेंट यू नो पहले क्या आना दैट्स ऑल इज इंपॉर्टेंट उसके बाद तो इंग्लिश नो सो 360 we will surely reflect on this particular point and I'll come back to you the next one is इसका तो बता दो what is 358 assessment ये तो काफी सुना है लोगों ने
Government has like declared that we have to take board exam at 3 different levels.
Okay.
Exam, not board exam. Like the question paper will be sent by the.
Okay. Fine. Fine. We will hear that. Any other perspective? Any other perspective? All answers are correct. There's nothing wrong. No. Okay. This is one more thing. 10 backless days and 15 days of internship. ये क्या है? बैग का वेट कम करके एक सर्कुलर निकला था वो वाला सर्कुलर है ये? क्या वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग 10 दिन में क्या हो जाएगा बैगलेस डे के दिन? क्या करेंगे हम लोग? What do we will do? Just think, it's okay.
Also bring bags and maybe have more of practical learning.
Okay, don't bring bag. खाने का डब्बा लाना नहीं लाना.
That's up to them. but-
Many people said bagless. जब bagless days की बात चल रही थी कुछ forums में तो यही पूछा गया. खाने का डब्बा लाना है या स्कूल देगा उस दिन खाना?
I think like they have to interact with like suppose doctor, engineers, lawyers. They have to spend time with them.
For what?
For this like to get experience about their like how they have got into this profession and.
Good. When you are halfway through, good. Very good. Next. What else? And what is the connection? 10 bagless days, 6 to 8 standard, 9 to 12, 15 days of internship.
Focus more on the experiential learning.
Focus more on the experience concepts के ऊपर या किस लिए?
Skill based.
क्या skill based?
Something practical based. Soft skills.
Soft skill, practical based. Okay.
In choosing their career.
Whose skill? Teacher or student?
Students.
Okay, this is about students. Okay, fine. We will talk about it. Next is National Professional Standard for Teachers. Have you heard this? Australia के बारे में सुना? NPTS. पहली बार we will be called as professionals. Okay, so we will hear about it. So if you have not done, अभी तक आपके स्कूल में जितने भी परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल हो रहे थे, वो सारे के सारे परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल्स क्यों गलत हो रहे थे? Because ये नहीं था हमारे पास. इसके बारे में we will talk about it in little later. Next is this. Every industrialist spoke about gap between the education and employment. Infosys, Manaran Murthy said 15.5% are employable. Another person said from L&T, oh, it is only 12.7%. मेरे को भी देखिए 0.7% ये सब कहाँ से है पता नहीं. But there is a gap. There is a gap. Many corporates attempted this in the past, but they attempted at the last moment. That's where there was a gap. A classic example could be an engineering program. The people went in the final year, trained, inbuilt the program into it, and they were not very successful. Whether it was InfiConnect, whether it was Mission 10X by Wipro, you take multiple organizations. Some of these models were not right because they were not touching the grassroots level, and that's something which we will try to understand. How does it try to look at it? Now, I am sure when you are trying to answer these questions silently, you will also should be able to understand that we really need to spend some time on reflecting. Some time on reflecting. Because one of the very important things which we really need to look and understand is all this is about basics. मेरे को भी कई लोग पूछते हैं होगा क्या, इम्प्लीमेंट होगा क्या? अरे जो करना था वो हमने नहीं किया इतने साल. एक बहुत बड़ी खूबसूरत चीज थी हमारे स्कूलों में. कई लोगों ने मेरे जो यहाँ पे मतलब colleagues हैं, you might have experienced something called as SUPW. हमने उसको इतना प्यार से उस पीरियड को खत्म कर दिया. साइंस वालों तो बोल दिया some useful periods are being what? Wasted. Math, science, people had an eye on it always after November month. When we can finish the portion at that particular time. कि 2 पीरियड वहां मिल जाए. और लैंग्वेज वालों के साथ होता that is second part of it. But what exactly happened was somewhere we lost on basics. And new education policy says, excuse me, come back, work on basics, rest will happen. The rest will happen. And how it is basic, we will spend some time because whatever it expected, it said कि पहले ये बताओ कि बच्चा आपका फोकस में है या नहीं. I was in Bangalore recently, 3 days international exhibition. It's an international education exhibition, but other than education, everything was there in that particular exhibition. You had a computer wala, you had a uniform wala, you had a furniture wala, you had everything. But एक student को जो चाहिए था, वो student को कैसे समझना है, कैसे understand करना है, was not there in the conference, unfortunately. So that's where I'm trying to say the focus somewhere has moved away from that core child. We have become very jargonized. We have started using multiple theories, philosophies. All of us talk about, differentiation होना चाहिए, inclusive policy होनी चाहिए. वो तो thanks to Election Commission of India, जब आपके स्कूल में polling booth बना, तो कम से कम एक रैंप बन गया. Thanks to TEEP, at least उन्होंने कहा कि कहाँ है, compliances की जब बात हुई तो that also came up as part of the assessment. Now this is how some of these frameworks help, because until unless you comply, people don't do it. यहाँ पे यदि कोई young teacher है, अब आपको principal बनने के लिए 20 साल wait नहीं करना पड़ेगा. 10 साल बाद एक एग्जाम लिखो और प्रिंसिपल बन जाओ. क्योंकि आजकल एक प्रिंसिपल का भी एक फैटिग होना शुरू हो गया. I'm already 10 years now, I should become consultant. Everybody wants to become a consultant, and I'm sorry, this segment has become something like masala dabba means, जो खाना बनाने वाला होता है, बिरयानी बनाने वाला एक्सपर्ट होता है, वो अपने साथ एक छोटा मसाला डब्बा लाता है. उसमें क्या होता है पता नहीं, सारी चीजें बनाता है लेकिन वो मसाला डालता है लास्ट में, वो फ्लेवर में बिकता है. कितनी बार वही बिरयानी खाओगे आप बार? This is exactly what COVID brought about consultants in country. This is exactly what COVID brought when consulting came. So we really need to understand कि वो बच्चे का फोकस कितना है, वो चाइल्ड की अंडरस्टैंडिंग कितनी है, वो चाइल्ड का प्रोफाइल कितना समझा हमने, वो चाइल्ड के प्रोग्रेशन को कितना समझा हमने. Is there a tool? But when NEP came in, the first and the foremost thing what we did, we said NEP is a global benchmark. और ये शब्द का भी अब्यूज काफी होता है हमारे सेक्टर में. मुझे आज ही मालूम है कई एप्लीकेशंस को पढ़ते समय यूएस के स्कूल के साथ यहाँ का जमशेदपुर का स्कूल बेंचमार्क करता था. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता था कि सर डेटा खाली वही अवेलेबल है, इसलिए हमारा डेटा उनका डेटा एक है सर, हम उस डेटा के साथ करते हैं. अदरवाइज हमारे पास लोकल तो हम है ही, क्योंकि पास वाली गली में हमारा स्कूल का अलाइनमेंट ही नहीं, हम तो सब. So when we try to talk about a concept like benchmark, a philosophy like benchmark, we really need to understand when NEP came in, it looked at the world's best global practices It gleaned the best of practices. It brought out the best of practices. It said very, very specifically, यहाँ से ये लेंगे, यहाँ से ये लेंगे, यहाँ से. So if you are trying to talk about CCE, Singapore also has a CCE, but it is not continuous comprehensive evaluation. It is all about character and citizenship education, which new education policy is talking about. So we really need to understand कि वो practice कहाँ से आ रहा है. Everywhere world over people are trying to talk about the vocational concepts. आज भी हमें यही है कि 9th, 10th और 12th का marks है, 10th and 12th का marks है. Now you will hear in some time from now when we talk about assessment, there is something which is coming called as CUET. That particular CUET is nothing but aimed from the West. Very important for us. Otherwise 10th and 12th का जो भूत है, 10th and 12th का जो भूत हमारे सिर पर था, वो भूत अब खत्म हो जाएगा. Everybody was laughing, क्या नहीं होगा assembly, ये सब नहीं होगा. Go back and look at my video of 2019 which I talked about when 430 page document, draft document came in. I did one of my shows on Teen Sawal where I talked about it. Many people called up and said, आप ऐसे कैसे बोल देंगे? ऐसे कैसे चला जाएगा इंडिया में 10th and 12th? CUET कैसे आएगा बताइए? आपने ऑलरेडी मिनिस्टर साहब को सुना है कि अगले 2 साल के लिए हम कुछ नहीं करें, लेकिन बाकी कोर्सेस को हम CUET के अंदर लाएंगे. 2 साल तक कुछ नहीं करेंगे. Listen to the, hear to the comment carefully. All this will happen. So every child, irrespective of whatever you are trying to teach. Now my only worry is that how schools will say that we are doing well. क्योंकि 10th के नंबर नहीं आने, 12th के नंबर आने नहीं है. तो क्या डालेंगे बाहर विनायक का होर्डिंग? It's going to be a big challenge. How will I say that I am doing better than them or him? I need something as data, and that's going to be very, very important. So when we try to talk about the global, benchmarks, the whole new education policy has looked at the best of practices. It has taken, if at all, if you are trying to talk about competency-based education, it has gone to Finland and brought those practices here. It has brought the practices from Finland. But Finland has something very, very interesting. There are 2 T's which are very, very important. The teacher and the trust on teacher. हमारे पास पहला वाला तो है, लेकिन दूसरा वाला नहीं है पहले वाला. हम लोग इतना एक्सपर्ट हो गए. I keep taking people to Finland, the owners, principals travel to Finland. During pre-COVID, when I took one of the delegations, तो एक स्कूल में गया तो किसी नॉर्मली इंडियन से बाहर जाते तो ये देखते कि हमारे प्रॉब्लम का कोई सोल्यूशन मिल जाएगा वहां पर. So there they went and asked the principal, ma'am, we want to know, do you have class observation? The principal said, yes. मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया. Class observation in Finland, there is no concept at all. But these people are talking about observation. So I allowed the principal not to stop. So I allowed the principal to speak, and when all of them went, I went to the principal. I said, ma'am, when did you start this observation? Because in Finland, you can't, even principal can't enter the teacher's classroom. He has to take an appointment to go into the classroom. How did this observation start happening? Sir, to tell you frankly, whenever Indian delegation comes, they ask for this. So now we have made printouts of few things. We have kept it in a file. So whenever they ask, we show them, they take 1 or 2 pictures, they are happy कि Finland में भी observation. हमने global benchmarking के लिए गए थे हम वहाँ पर, लेकिन वहाँ वालों को हम corrupt करके आ गए कि उन्हें विश्वास नहीं करना चाहिए. तो विश्वास मत करो अपने teacher पे. So what I am trying to say is that on a lighter note, please understand that when we try to copy, when we try to understand, people have different reasons for certain practices. People have different reasons for, doing certain things. You go to something called as Singapore and Finland, they have something called as home economics. Every child knows how to fold a bed sheet. Every child is being taken to a proper laundry. He puts the bed sheet, he rolls the bed sheet, he irons the bed sheet, he places the bed sheet, he knits his own socks, woolen socks. Everything happens there as so called, जो हमारे देश में SUW काट के हमने बनाया लाइफ स्किल, वो लाइफ स्किल वहाँ होता है. बट किस लिए होता है? क्योंकि वहाँ पे 17-18 साल में बच्चे को बाय बाय बोलना पड़ता है माँ बाप को. कभी इस जनरेशन के लोगों से जाकर उस कंट्री में बात करके देखो, बोलता सर टिल 17 my father will take care. After that he will say go because government is not giving money to maintain him. So while doing the benchmarking, be little careful. But where exactly did we lose is something very, very important. We have never looked at our own past. We have never looked at our past, learning from the past, and that's where somewhere we lost out on that child. So we really need to understand this particular perspective, use child care, aspiration care. Whatever I am going to talk here today is going to be based on these documents, which are published by government and by the ministry. Because I don't want to give any gyan from my side and my thought process. Itne document kyun nahi clear? Many people say that, oh, we don't have a confidence that NEP will get implemented. Show me in the past, when was the last time they divided a policy into 325 items and set a deadline for those items, and then it will start when it will close, was written in any of the earlier documents. They have made smaller tasks. They have made smaller tasks, they have said how these tasks will be done, and then they will be getting implemented. Many people say, oh, ये सब नहीं हो सकता, वो सब नहीं हो सकता. अरे कैसे नहीं हो सकता है? लोगों ने बोला था हमारे देश में सबको मार्क्स कार्ड हार्ड कॉपी चाहिए. इस बार आप लोगों को हार्ड कॉपी मिला था क्या पहले? हर एक के बच्चे के किसमें गया? डिजी लॉकर में गया. So डिजी लॉकर is nothing but academic credit bank which NEP is talking about. So we really need to understand, is the NEP happening? Yes, it's happening. It's only a question of time. It's only a question of time. And when we are trying to talk about time, we need to be a little more cautious. Many people also commented, कि हमारे देश में हर policy कबड्डी खेली जाती है policy के साथ. That's how the NEP is also. But just to let you know in few words, the NEP is about this. How many of us know that how many children drop out? Just guess how many people drop out after 10th in our country? Out of every 100 children? Just tell me all answers are right. What percentage? What percentage of children drop out after 10th in our school, in our country?
25 to 30%.
25 to 30? Okay.
60%, sir?
60%. It's 60% of people in India drop after grade 10. And grade 12, another 20% drop. In higher education, it is only 16, abhi to better than 19.85% is getting into higher education. Now imagine that every 100 में भी 60 बच्चे निकल गए, उसमें 40 थे, उस 40 में से 21 लोग निकल गए, जो 20 खाली ग्रेजुएशन लेवल पर हैं. What is happening with these 80? Why I want you to understand this, NEP is addressing this. Because many times we say that we don't want everybody to become a carpenter or a sculptor or an electrician. It is not about that. It is about that 80% of people where they are going. That's where people are trying to talk about, make in India, they are talking about startup India, all that is happening for what reason? How many of us in this room also know the population for next 7 years, the number of children who are going to come into school has declined? हमारे देश में पॉलिसी के कारण सिंगल चाइल्ड की जो पॉलिसी आई थी या 2 चाइल्ड की जो पॉलिसी आई थी, उस पॉलिसी का इम्पैक्ट अब नजर आ रहा है इस साल जो बच्चे जा रहे हैं. I can do a little research as a school leader that yes, this is one of the reasons. It also talked about light and tight curriculum. World over, people have done studies on multiple boards and multiple things, and everybody said only one thing, that हमारा जो curriculum है, it is the most aspirational curriculum. Our expectations are quite high. We have loaded quite a lot of things inside that whole thought process, which is not right, and we really need to look at it. Seamless integration, which we'll talk about as learning, learning world to world of work. Empowering teachers. I was talking in one of the closed door discussions when it came to teachers' professional standard, and I'll show you what is the standard which is getting cooked. I'll show you that standard also as part of my presentation, at least the criteria. I'll show you other things I may not be able to show you at this particular juncture. Once it is public, then I think you will get the full document. I'll be happy to share. I also said if you are going to make teacher professional standard, national professional teacher standards, then I've been urging the boards, why don't you fix a minimum salary for teachers? Because education and economics need to match. If it is not mixing and matching properly, it doesn't work. You expect him or her to become professional, but are we running our institutions professionals? So the answer which was told to me was, आप पहले standard बनाओ, release करो, बाद में उसका compliance हम देखेंगे. Yes, it's happening. I don't know how many of us know the graduate scheme you have to have in your schools. And if at all, if you are not paying it, keep the money in one account. आज नहीं तो कल आपके हाथ से वो बाहर आ. PPF जो Provident Fund graduating जो scheme है, you have to have that very very soon. Supreme Court has already given an order this year, last month, saying that schools or teachers also come under this particular philosophies. Because we are all sitting as managements and leaders, please go back and spend some time. If you want a copy, I leave it with Vidya. You can go back and kind of look at it, because that's going to help you quite a lot. Because that's something very very important. So empowering teachers, 10 days of training will be required. 10 days of training is going to be required, and you are supposed to get that training. And how the training has to come in, it is not about कि हाँ एक publisher ने बोला कल program में चले जाओ. No. आपके APP, the CBSE schools have made something called as APP, Annual Pedagogical Plan. उस Annual Pedagogical Plan, from that particular Annual Pedagogical Plan, you are supposed to find out the gaps based on the assessment of your teacher and your results. You really need to develop the complete plan. And actually speaking, your TEEP model is talking about it. The Baldrige model basically talks about 3-year strategy plan or 5-year strategy plan. It also talks about 3-year rolling plan. It talks about annual plan. It also talks about annual training calendar. That means what? जो भी हम लोग NEP की expectation है, actually you people should be an advantage. Because I still remember LT, ST measurement, छोटा boxes बना के document में कितना देखा है मैंने. All that we have done, pedagogical plan was supposed to be given that. But I am sorry, जो भी pedagogical plan वहाँ website है ना, CBSE के website में, I fought with them also saying that these are not pedagogical plan, this is little beyond your affiliation document. There are 3-4 schools documents which are available on the website, so I am not getting into it, please go and refer to that, but they are not pedagogical plan. You are supposed to understand the profile of people who are in your community, your curriculum framework, your 5-year plan, your 3-year plan, rolling plan, your annual plan. Based on that your training and then improvement is all about. Coming to next, maximum utilization of shared. How many of you have attended tinkering labs here? 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, good, 5 people. Are you keeping your doors open for other schools to come?
Yes.
Very good. I was happy that at least Jamshedpur में एक ज़माने में people used to have, I don't know whether it happens as practice, that post lunch people from the community can come and use that particular facility. So this place had some good practices, I am saying, which is somewhere lost. Every school need not have a football ground. Every school need not have a 400 meters track. You don't have to have. He may have, she may have. So can we share these resources? Every school can't afford a counselor. Can 4 schools hire one counselor and make it a concept of bench counselor and rotate? This is what NEP is trying to talk about. So when we try to talk about shared resources, it is also asking that every school need not have a large infrastructure, because that will be a huge cost. And that is not getting utilized. This is where they are saying that your school auditorium will be used by the local community and you are supposed to give the auditorium, because government can't construct one more auditorium outside. For that, many people had this particular thought saying that, oh, how can we share our facility? Humne paise diye, humne. No. In all the other tinkering land, the money came. You only gave me. And in that you wrote a signature also. I will share. I will keep my door open. After the school hours, I will have 1% to manage. All that English document we signed. उस समय पे 10 लाख आ रहा था, 20 लाख आ रहा था, हमने फटाफट सबने. It became more a marketing strategy for many people without understanding whether Atal was actually required for your school or not. But some schools are doing great job, I can tell you today. I don't know about your cities, I'm not going to comment on that, but some schools have really made things happen. And hats off to all the institutions which are actually utilizing and making that effort to make sure that the resources are getting shared with others. So that's something which is, and schools as part of the community. Here, we really needed to see how quickly and how exactly we are going to become part and parcel of the community. Every SMC used to have 2 people, local committee.
Yes.
We were supposed to have 2 people, right? अब वो 2 लोग कौन होते थे typically? ये अच्छा पढ़ता है, ये अच्छी पढ़ती है, इनके माँ बाप. गलत नहीं. What you are doing is correct. I am not questioning. But what I am trying to say is that are they even coming regularly for the SMC? This is where even in your TEEP model, in the result area, in the governance area, how many times you have the meeting and what is the effectiveness of the meeting? Please understand this particular perspective that certain state governments have already started looking at the asset registers of school. So get ready, be careful, I'm saying. Your SMC minutes, your purchase committee meeting minutes, your asset register, all the 3 have to be aligned. This is already going to happen. Wait and watch, and there are certain governments which have already started. And they have hired not a chota mota company, but the big 5 is, E&Y is actually working very closely with state government to find out कि कौन-कौन ने किस-किस तरह की adjustments किया है. So please be getting ready. So schools are going to be part of the community. You can't say I will not give my मैदान ground or engagement. आप लोगों के भी होता है ना सोशल वाला क्राइटेरिया होता है ना, सोशल में लिखते हैं ना आप लोग स्कूल ऑफ होप, सारे स्कूल के डॉक्यूमेंट में मैंने किया था आज भी. लेकिन वो बेचारा स्कूल ऑफ होप में घास अभी भी उतनी बड़ी है. यदि हर स्कूल में दो मतलब 30 by 30 भी यदि क्लीन करके रखा तो पूरा मतलब स्कूल ऑफ होप में घास ही नहीं होती. I'm just giving you the perspective. Then we say, so that is not my responsibility, sir. I think it starts from 1S. 5S के भी सेशन होते थे एकदम, सर वो तो होते थे. This is where your Prime Minister also started campaign called as what?
Swachh Bharat.
Swachh Bharat. A cluttered environment can never bring in fresh perspectives into them. The same thing happens in school. So schools, if you have become part of the community, you will be responsible for many things. This is not spoken about anything. If you try to look at, we are only here thanks to COVID, that's why I said, we have at least moved to the second ladder. The whole journey, new education policy is trying to talk about this. New education policy is talking about education 4.0, which talks about कि हम खाली वो अक्षय पात्र से निकाल रहे हैं knowledge को, हम अक्षय पात्र भर भी रहे हैं क्या? It is like, on a lighter note, many schools, when we ask them to write reflection, क्यों लिखना है reflection? Lesson plan में? They said, why? No, we don't need to write. After every activity, do we write the reflections? If yes, good. If not, go back and start. Because every new concept what you are going to try to introduce as the innovation producing, the education is something which is beyond that. I was talking to somebody, I think in my last episode of Teen Sawal, which I do on Facebook Live. In that I was talking about this gentleman by name Vishnu Prasad from Vishnu Prasad Research Center, who holds around 65 plus patents on his name, and who has who has so much of data in the country today. He can tell you, whether you will win the next election or not. So when I interviewed this particular person, I was completely amazed. I said, "Jo theoretical I don't want to know. Please tell me what is your definition of innovation." He said, "Any change which can impact 1 billion people is innovation." In Indian context, if it is not impacting 1 billion or it is not able to help 1 billion, it is not innovation. I said, wow, I will remember this definition than anything else. Because हमारे पास इतने PhD हो रहे हैं, अभी तो नया ट्रेंड भी है ना स्कूल में, डॉक्टर 30,000 में 40,000 में, that doctorship is not I'm talking about. यहाँ पे knowledge creating, you are expecting people to fill that. All this, if you go back and do a little research, you will find out that it gets into the OECD 2030 framework. And all the keyword you might have already seen in your CBSE circulars. Go and check for ICSE circulars. This document is available on website. You can always get download. All this yatra, if you try to look at NEP's implementation, is aligned into this at 2030. आप कुछ करो ना करो, अगले एकेडमिक ईयर स्टार्टिंग से पहले हर टीचर आपका ब्लूम्स को घोट के पी ले. If you really want to be ready for NEP, first go and make sure that Bloom's is understood by you and by your colleagues. रात को कोई झापड़ मार के पूछे ना, बोले नहीं ये application. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? This is application or this is recall. Because this is how all of us may have to do our assessments. By the way, what is this LO? ये क्या learning outcomes? Then what is learning objective? What is learning outcomes and learning objective? Sir, दोनों LO है sir.
Learning outcome is after you deliver the lesson.
What you
What the children learn, that's the learning outcome. And learning objective we set before we deliver our lessons.
ठीक है, okay. और let me get enriched more.
What we thought is the objective, what they understood is the outcome.
जैसे अभी आपने बोला अपना ऑब्जेक्टिव, मेरे को जो समझ में आया मेरा आउटकम. Very good, ma'am. Okay. Just on a light note, don't take me. I'm like this only. Okay. Yeah. What else? सर अभी तक हम लेसन प्लान में एलओ लिखते थे सर. जब से एनईपी आया, सीबीएसई ने बोला, हमने वो हटा के ओ को ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को आउटकम बना दिया सर. कंट्रोल एफ, कंट्रोल एफ, कंट्रोल आर, ऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बिकेम outcomes. No. Maybe motive behind. Yes. But that we also write, objective also used to write, no? At the end of the chapter, the child will be able to multiply a 2 digit with 2 digit. This is what we were able to say, right?
Learning outcome is actually the reflection of the objective.
इसके बारे में कभी हम अलग वर्कशॉप करेंगे, आज नहीं करेंगे. Okay? But then the whole idea is, today I just wanted to trigger this thinking process. You go back and look at your lesson plans. And thanks to your board that they have already given one blue book. Blue book में already उन्होंने LO लिख के दे दिया है. तो आपको वहां से कंट्रोल से कंट्रोल भी करना है. प्रॉब्लम वहां नहीं आएगी. प्रॉब्लम वहां आएगी जब आपको असेसमेंट करना पड़ेगा. Because every LO को assess करने के लिए, if you don't have the right strategy and tool, LO will become LO. And that's where these, if you look at Bloom's, you'll be able to see some of these things. And I'll show you all these these are there, but this needs to be looked at. Knowledge, skills, attitude. ये दोनों फिर भी ठीक है सर, ये नहीं है सर. Let me ask a very simple question. Is learning objective a skill? Is, or let me put the question in another way. Can we say every learning objective is equal to a skill? Why not? Why not?
Because everything of what we think is not achieved at the end.
So, what should we be writing? Now this is a trigger for you to think. LO, outcomes and objectives में क्या फर्क है? Because आज हमने खाली उसे एक ऑब्जेक्टिव के रूप में देखा, उसे एक स्किल के रूप में नहीं देखा. The child will be able to apply a multiplication, 2 digit with 2 digit in another environment is all about competency. A child will be able to apply, or a child will be able to वैसे apply आ गया तो बात हो गया, खत्म. The child will be able to multiply, a 2 digit with 2 digit is what? It's a skill at a lower level. It's at a weak. Now you go back and work on it, because as leaders you have to spend a lot of time on this area, which is the weakest link right now in success of new education policy in our institution. हम लोग भी लिखते हैं ना इंग्लिश में, टीप में, एप्लीकेशन में. Sorry sir, I'm just giving you live examples because I have read the application long back, not now. So my reference points are those. हम लिखते हैं vision, objectives. वो vision L है, objective T है. What is L and T? Long term goals नहीं है वो. Looking to London, talking to Tokyo. Because there is no correlation between the vision and the objectives. Forget about mission, फिर भी पास में है, क्योंकि उसमें हम लोग बड़े अच्छे मतलब माहिर हो गए. अब कोई बोलेगा नहीं सर मिशन पहले आना चाहिए, मिशन बाद में आना चाहिए, मिशन तो वो और सब घुमाते रहते हैं. इट्स लाइक चिकन एंड एग. आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू दैट. उसके लिए कभी और बात करेंगे. अभी मेरा खाली ऑब्जेक्टिव की बात कर. If that is defined, then we should be able to look at it. Tell me here, all of us have been writing vision statement, and thanks to CBSE, ICSE, which compelled, I still remember the date, 30th October से पहले अपना विजन अपलोड करो. सारे स्कूल में इंग्लिश डिपार्टमेंट यहाँ चेक किया, उधर चेक किया, इधर लिखा, मिशन बनाया, अपलोड कर दिया. मिशन ऐसे नहीं लिखा जाता ना. यदि आपका विजन लिखा होता, आपका स्टेक होल्डर प्रोफाइल होता, तो आपके स्टूडेंट का एट्रीब्यूट भी होता ना. Where is that attribute that we have written? कि हमारे स्कूल में पढ़े हुए हर बच्चे के अंदर A, B, C, D, E will be visible. Is it shared somewhere? Is it shared somewhere? No. So if that is not there, how are you even defining the competencies? So go back and spend some time on this particular perspective. All this will get connected to PISA, Performance of International School Assessment. I think that PISA तो सुना है, PISA भी सुना है, Finland सुना है, अच्छा education system है. They are the people, they say that. So I'm just trying to put it in a very easiest way. Now you really need to understand that what will happen to my school. The first and the foremost thing which is going to get affected is your curriculum. How many of us have defined very clearly what is our curriculum framework? CFW. How many of us have defined? CFW, curriculum framework. Let me make it very, very clear. Syllabus is different, curriculum is different. And we very loosely use in our present welcome addresses and other things. I think we really need to go back and reflect. Now this is what the first thing which is going to happen. What is going to happen? हमको सर ये तो फोटो हर जगह पे दिखा है, इसलिए मैंने ये यूज किया, मैंने भी एक क्रिएट किया लेकिन नहीं दिखाया. I use it a little differently. Now when I try to look at this particular document, हमारे पास यहाँ एक बहुत बड़ी परेशानी होती थी. The cultural shock which every kid used to get. LKG में ज्वाइन होता था बच्चा, उसको ये समझ में नहीं आता था कि कैसे करना है, क्या करना है, आगे कैसे निकलना है. That's where the problem used to happen. So there was a gap which was existing between the pre-primary and first standard. To bridge that, they made it as 5 years. And many schools used to have something called as a mother-teacher concept or a single teacher concept. That single teacher is somebody who needs to be now actually involved. We don't bother about it, we really need to look at it. And the same thing is going to happen at higher level, which I'll spend some time in explaining. But why this structure has come up like this is कि ये एक डिपार्टमेंट होता था पहले 3 जिसके कोई माँ बाप नहीं होते थे. जो अर्ली ईयर्स है ना, वो हर जगह पे हर बंदे ने अपना अपना प्री प्राइमरी स्कूल खोल के रखा हुआ है. इसीलिए the government came up with a new document for effective implementation of NEP called as FLN. What is that FLN? Good. Foundation Literacy and Numeracy document. It's available on web. Please download it, use it, even if you're running only a preschool. That talks very beautifully what is that. So what I'm saying, NEP is already there. Not only this, when we are trying to talk about the curriculum, this is something which is very, very important for you to look as a school leader. Look at the keyword. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to say play and activity, play, discover and activity, experiential learning, multidisciplinary study, flexibility, student choice of subjects. Look at the keywords. That's all. Don't go into too much of reading that. The keyword है कि play से ही ऊपर तक जा रहा है. और एक शब्द यहाँ बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग यूज किया, एक्सपीरियंशियल. CBSE also has released a book on experiential learning. कोई भी बोलो कॉल्स बोल देते, कॉल्स बोल देते. ऐसे उठा के मैं फेंकूं, मैडम मेरे को वापस फेंक. Every action has opposite and equal reaction. Is that experiential learning? Putting something in the water, it dissolves. Is that experiential learning? Huh? Yes. How is that, sir?
It dissolves the children, then it can dissolve. Chemical can dissolve the water.
Chemical can dissolve, but that knowledge the child has to reflect.
The child should do that.
Yes. So it's not only about that activity. It's not an experience.
Learning by doing.
Ma'am, it's English again.
They can make it easier.
Experience is all about learning something and applying for multiple purposes. So when I look at dissolving something, I use ink, I use salt, I tried with sugar, madam ne meko bola sugar, then I put wood, then I put mobile, all that I put in water. What happens? I see, I gain experience. That experience is based on reflection. So the new education is talking all about reflection. It says that you can't just do activity for the sake of activity. You are trying to acquire a knowledge and you go back and apply the knowledge. जैसे हमारे इंडियंस ने करा ना बड़ा अच्छे ढंग से, what is it? मैकडॉनल्ड्स लेकर आए वहां से, उसमें हमने आलू टिक्की फ्लेवर बनाया लोकल. मैंने कभी पनीर डोसा नहीं सा देखा था. पंजाब गया, then I saw पनीर डोसा. चिकन डोसा भी बनता है, ठीक है. चिकन करी डोसा मैंने देखा है सर, लेकिन चिकन डोसा मैंने नहीं देखा. Surely I try to find out if there is something in Jamshedpur. But what it basically means is applying, reflecting, and re-implementing a different situation is all about. That's what the new education policies, the structure is expecting all of us to do. Now you will be able to understand why I talked about blooms, blooms, blooms. जितना आप blooms देखोगे उतना आपको expertise आएगा. Competency based education के बारे में हमने कई भाषण सुन लिए. I'll give you one example and you'll be able to understand easily. All of us know महाभारत. महाभारत में 5 कैरेक्टर थे. पांचों भाइयों की क्या खासियत थी? कोई गदा अच्छा चलाता था, कोई भी धनुष अच्छा चलाता. धनुष वाले को धनुष चलाने देना ही what? Competency. So you have identified the competency, you have nurtured the competency, is all about competency. But what is very, very important is all of them have only one guru or one school. And that's the most easiest way to define. I'm not going to get into it. But what it will require is, it will require a lot of practice on rubrics. All your assessments will require a lot of rubrics. Second, every education must be contextual. Every experience has to be contextual. I can't be doing everything to compare with Singapore or with Finland or with US or UK. I need to give examples which are local. How to create context, that itself is a one-day session, to be very frank. How to contextualize the example or concept, that's some other day. But this is something which is very, very important. The next important is integration. Oh God, this got abused in India to the maximum. I think वो चना चोर वाला कौन सा अपने बिष्टुपुर में famous? Fakira. What he does is integration actually. Not joking. What he does is integration. He asks you before he puts. Correct. The same thing teacher is supposed to do with looking at the profile of children sitting in front of them is all about integration. हम लोग get this is what NEP is expecting you. CBSE circular पे circular. हम लोग क्या करते हैं? इसको उठाया, उसका एक आर्ट बना दिया, अंडे उबल रहे हैं, इंटीग्रेशन हो गया. आर्ट इंटीग्रेशन विद साइंस. No, it is not possible. Sorry, it is not like that. We don't have rubrics. Suppose if a child comes to your class and say, Madam, I am going to do a blogging or vlogging. Do we have rubrics to measure the vlogging? And that's what it expects you to do. It expects you to do. And that's where the integration actually works. Integration नाम के वास्ते नहीं होता. Differentiate. NEP talks about difference. We were supposed to have 2 worksheets, 3 worksheets. Sir, एक ही नहीं होता सर, वो 3 काम बनाएंगे. Question paper पुराना old question paper को खाली date control C control V में mistake कर देता है हमारे teacher. We are into such trouble, right? So how are you doing difference here? When I don't know the profile of my children, how will I do differentiation? And if I need to know the profile, then I need to have a student profile running from LKG to 12th. That's what NEP expects you to do. Multidisciplinary. अभी तक सडनली कुछ स्कूलों में मैंने देखा आर्ट म्यूजिक के टीचर बड़े एक्टिव हो गए, स्पोर्ट्स वाले बड़े एक्टिव हो गए, क्योंकि साइंस टीचर इज टेकिंग द चिल्ड्रन टू बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट. कोने कोने में खड़ा कर देता है, बोलता है बॉल को यहाँ फेंको, रिबाउंड हुआ, कितना एंगल है, कितना रिफ्लेक्शन है, सर हो गया देखो स्पोर्ट्स इंटीग्रेशन. It is not about that. It is all about how do you teach. How many history teachers in your classroom have gone and taught the history of this IIT Kharagpur? IIT Kharagpur की इतिहास के कितने लोग को जेल है वो, जाके चेक करके देखो. वो कभी IIT के लिए नहीं बना था, उसका हिस्ट्री चेक करके देखो, जेनेसिस चेक करके देखो, क्यों बनाया गया था, उसके कितने रूप आए, उसके बाद में IIT क्यों बना, उसका वर्ल्ड वार में उसका क्या रिलेशनशिप है, चेक करके देखो, कितने लोगों को मालूम है. And this is where NEP says there is going to be something called as IKS. What is IKS? Indian Knowledge Systems. अगली बार से कोई मंदिर ले जा रहे हो, चर्च ले रहे हो, गुरुद्वारा ले जा रहे हो, मॉस्क ले जा रहे हो, वहां पे आर्किटेक्चर में मैथ दिखाओ. पानी खिलाना नहीं बोल रहा है. Suppose if somebody is coming into this particular center, can I show, use the shadows and play around with the kid in this particular place? This is what NEP expects us to do. Because NEP says, to do all this experiential learning, I need to know what is the profile of my learner. And this is where your TEEP model actually talked about this quite well. हर साल हम कैलेंडर बनाते हैं. कब हमने रिव्यू किया कि लास्ट ईयर प्लान्ड वर्सेस एक्चुअल एक्टिविटीज कितने हैं? Forget about the effectiveness. We have somehow do the reporting करते समय application में we talk about effectiveness of the program. I am saying planned versus actual first, planned versus rescheduled second, planned number of student engagement versus the next. Then only we will talk about the other effectiveness. No, whether achievement has happened or not. Otherwise, what I will do? Every year I will do one Ramayana and Mahabharata. 100 people have to be on stage. तो ऑटोमेटिकली क्या करना मैंने? 4 अच्छे कैरेक्टर को 4 लोगों को दे दिए, बाकी सबको वानर सेना. And काम खत्म, because engagement has happened. No, sorry, you can't talk about effectiveness. You really need to work on it. And that's where this is what your team says, not me. आज से नहीं बोला वो, 2004 से बोल रहा. You need a strategic plan, you need a 3-year rolling plan, you need a annual pedagogy. An annual pedagogical plan is all about this. आपके एप्लीकेशन में जो फर्स्ट सेक्शन आप लिखते हैं ना इंग्लिश में, जब वो लिखते हैं तब आपका स्कूल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क आता है। जब आपका स्कूल करिकुलम आता है तब आपको 5+3+3 को डिफाइन करना है। आपके हर डिपार्टमेंट को वर्टिकल अलाइन करना है। इस 5334 में कौन से पेडागोजिकल प्रैक्टिसेस आएंगे उसको लिखना है। इतना ही नहीं, इन पेडागोजिकल प्रैक्टिसेस से ये अचीव हुआ है कि नहीं उसका असेसमेंट लिखना है, रिसोर्स लिखना है, रिव्यू कौन सा एरिया से पीरियड कैसे करेंगे, एंड प्रोसेस एंड डेटा। दिस इज व्हाट इज एपीपी। लोगों ने क्या किया, अपना कुछ 4 लेसन प्लान डाल दिए, 4 मंथली प्लान डाल दिए, 4 बोलते हैं ना वो एनुअल कैलेंडर डाल दिया, 2 सब्जेक्ट का डाल दिया, पूरा इकट्ठा करके अपलोड कर दिया सीबीएसई में पीडीएफ। नो, दैट्स नॉट एपीपी। You had advantage, I can tell you. You people had a lot of advantage with that framework. Assessment is something like we fool ourselves. It's all about fooling ourselves. So what does it talk about? We were talking earlier about teacher taking the lead. Now student is equally responsible for his or her learning. We had problem during COVID time. बच्चा बैठ नहीं रहा, पढ़ नहीं रहा, ये नहीं कर रहा, वो नहीं कर रहा। क्यों नहीं कर पाया? क्योंकि हमने कभी उसको इंडिपेंडेंट लर्निंग स्ट्रेटजीज नहीं बताया गया है। We never bothered to tell them about what is independent. Then how do you expect them to sit down and study? Big question. Not only this, 360 degree of assessment. I will talk about the 360 degree. If time permits, I will show you a tool, how it will look like. Because there is a company that has already started working on it. I've requested them for the access and I'll share that if time permits, right? But 360 degree is going to be not about only child's one, it will be scholastic, post-scholastic, but not only about grades, but about English with anecdotal records. With anecdotal records. So to maintain anecdotal records, people should know English. मुझे अभी भी मालूम है कई स्कूल यहाँ भी कई लोग ऐसे होंगे जिन्होंने एक वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट में कई इंग्लिश के स्टेटमेंट लिख के रखे होंगे। यहाँ से लिख के उसको कंट्रोल सी ऐसे चिपका दे रिपोर्ट कर ये नहीं लिया चिपका है। No, that will not work. You will have to prove rubrics and that's going to be helpful. 358 is not a board examination. It's a myth. Research says at the age of 3 the child actually starts. That's why before that it is foundational. After that only it is formative years. In the formative years, 3rd में बच्चे की हालत क्या है? You're supposed to do a diagnostic assessment in 3rd standard. 2 साल उस बच्चे के साथ क्या हुआ? At the 5th grade is progression. 8th standard the child will again be assessed on the similar criteria to see the progression so that the child can choose the course and the career choices. तो आपसे माँ बाप बोल रहे नहीं है, टीचर वॉमिट कर रहा नहीं है कि जिंदगी मैं पछता रहा हूं तुम मत करो बीएड. That is not counseling now. No more counseling business like this. You need data. You need to support. Why are you making such a comment? And that's where 358 will tell the child that this is how you are progressing beta. And I told you something about bagless days. I told you something about bagless days which is coming. The 6 to 8 में 10 bagless days में you are supposed to expose 10 different vocations to the children. So that in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 3 years, you are exposing them to 30 different vocations. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि हलवाई वोकेशन के लिए हम हलवाई को स्कूल में आए हलवा बना के खिला दिया. नो, यू हैव टू टेक दिस किड की हलवाई की जिंदगी कैसी होती है, एक फार्मर की जिंदगी कैसी होती है. यू कैन गेट अ कारपेंटर टू कम एंड बेटा स्कूल ऐसे होता है. दिस इज नॉट वोकेशनल एजुकेशन. You are not supposed to teach vocationally. You are only supposed to raise awareness so that the child is able to take a so बच्चे के पास अभी 30 है. पहले खाली 3 होता था, डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, टीचर. Now he will have 30 different vocations to basically talk about, and that's where your engagement with the community will make life easy. So, sorry, यहाँ पर again 9 to 12. I'm very happy to see I was made to understand today morning that Tata Steel has started this initiative with 3 schools on 3 different locations. They're experimenting something, so I think that's something which is very, very important. 15 days the child, जो भी 30 vocations उसने देखा है, उस 30 vocations में से कोई 4 को 15-15 दिन he or she is going to go and experience. तो उस 15 में से what happened? उस 30 में से you are filtering to, and during your summer break you are expecting the students to go and work, not awareness, but experiencing in real term what exactly it means. How many of us know that there is a career on logistics management? Please look at that. That's going to be something which is going to be very, very important. Logistics, with so many Indian airports coming in India, we don't find people to manage. I'm not talking about helper. I'm talking about even design. Until unless you have the domain experience, you can't do anything. That's where I think in India में जो बोलता है ना, जो खाता है जब वो खाना बनाता है तो उसका टेस्ट थोड़ा ज्यादा होता है. And that's what. So that means 30 days in 5 to 8, 6 to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 60 days. So 60 plus 90, 90 days, 60 plus 30, 90 days the child will actually choose and then decide मुझे graduation करनी है या नहीं करनी है. Now look at that 80% जो छूट गए थे ना हमारे, वो अपने आप integrate. Look at the vision, how big and how large it is. So next time if somebody says bagless days, it is not about bagless, it is awareness creation and experience creation. This will come next time. Sir, TEEP results are also report card of us, sir. No. Actually it should be. Up say, you will be expected to write on your website, अभी लिखते हैं ना कुछ mandatory disclosure, वहां पर अब से आप ये लिखोगे achievement of learning outcomes on your website. So you will not have to spend money on the flex. People will come to your website, look at your horoscope, कि कितना आपका टीचिंग लर्निंग की अचीवमेंट है, आपकी इफेक्टिवनेस क्या है, एंड फिर देर से मेरे बच्चे को आपके स्कूल भेजना है कि नहीं भेजना. आपको ज्यादा दूर नहीं जाना, समुद्र के पास में दुबई है. दुबई में एक अथॉरिटी है KHDA, उसके अंदर एक डिपार्टमेंट है जिसका नाम है DSIB, दुबई स्कूल इंस्पेक्शन बोर्ड. यदि आपके दोस्त है ना तो उनसे पूछ के देखिए KHDA का हवा कितना वहां इंडियन स्कूल्स के साथ, बाकी स्कूलों के साथ नहीं है. इंडियन स्कूल 3 महीने पहले से क्या हो रहा है, KHDA हो रहा है. जैसे हमारे स्कूल में एनुअल डे होता है ना, 2 महीने पहले से क्लासेस छूटने शुरू हो जाते हैं, 0 पीरियड आता है, सब आता है. वैसे वहां पे असेसमेंट मतलब 2 महीने पहले से कुछ नहीं होता. पीपल आर ओनली फीलिंग, बिकॉज इफ दे डोंट अचीव दैट दे आर आउट. द रेगुलेटर इज वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट. इन आवर केस इट विल टेक सम टाइम. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू मे नीड टू हैव board examination. Board examination, mostly, the board's role will be to assess and give one certificate. Assess and certify. So 9, 10, 11, 12 में खाली आपको सब बच्चा पास है, सब बच्चा कोर्स कंप्लीटेशन सर्टिफिकेट देना पड़ेगा आपको, देना पड़ेगा. Once you get the course completion certificate, then only your competencies will be assessed in that report card and in that CUET. That will decide कि आपको आगे क्या करना. And this is very interesting, flexible, 4-year focus on core competence concepts, higher order and foundation skills. That's why I kept on saying blooms. Moreover, we will have this ACB I've already talked about. You know what is academic credit bank, which is going to be the common point. Every child, even for admissions, you don't have to apply. You just have to apply, fill up the application form, press enter, give rights, they will take the certificate from there. So for no photocopy business, no thing, apne aap automatically everything will go. Then there is going to be National Assessment Center and the National Testing Agency. National Testing Agency will conduct all the common examination. National Assessment Center will take care of Parak. तीसरा का छोटा भाई जो इंडिया में आने वाला उसका नाम है परख, बच्चों को परख. The achievement of 5 and 8, no, the 3, 5 and 8. उसमें भी हमारे स्कूल चीटिंग कर लेते हैं. मेरे को पता है किसी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने जाके ये बोला कि आपके ए सेक्शन में खाली हम ये कराएंगे, बाकी क्लासेस में नहीं कराएंगे. तो उन्होंने पूछा क्यों? तो बोला सारे स्कूलों में जहाँ भी गए हम लोग, उन्होंने हमको बोला कि ए सेक्शन में सारे अच्छे बच्चे होते हैं, बी में कम अच्छे और सी में सारे के सारे वेस्ट होते हैं, इसलिए हमको खाली हमने बोला खाली आपके ए में कराओ, बाकी में मत कराओ. Look at the reality which is harsh, and we are going to get into a testing agency. If we follow all this automatically, do you think gap will come? Because the complete thing, tomorrow the HR of a corporate will ask the competency certificate of the kid, assessment done based on psychometry assessment, and he will take that particular kid on board. Then tomorrow nobody can complain. Not only this, next important thing is national professional standard for teachers. मेरे को किसी ने पूछा सर नेशनल प्रोफेशनल स्टैंडर्ड आएगा तो क्या हमारी जिंदगी बच जाएगी, हमारे प्रिंसिपल हमारे पीछे ऐसे भागेंगे क्या, ये सब काम कम हो जाएगा हमारा? Many people ask me this question कि प्रोफेशनल स्टैंडर्ड सब प्रोफेशनल हो जाएंगे तुम्हारा काम कम हो जाएगा सर? That's what somebody asked me. No, what will happen is now you will have these as 6 standards which will be followed by. These are going to be the standards which will become your reference point for all your future assessment. बोलते हैं लड़का देखने जाओ, लड़की देखने जाओ तो बेसिक को 6 गुण होते हैं, फिर उसके 36 निकालते हैं ना, तो जो 6 हैं वो ये हैं, इसके 36 आपको डिफाइन करना है. सरकार देगी लेकिन आपको अपना डिफाइन करना है, क्योंकि आपका मिशन और सरकारी स्कूल का मिशन. नहीं तो कई लोग बोलते हैं मेरे स्कूल के टीचर बाकी स्कूल में कोऑर्डिनेटर बन जाते हैं. कुछ प्रिंसिपल पर बोलते हैं सर माय कोऑर्डिनेटर प्रिंसिपल देयर सर, व्हाई शुड आई सेंड माय पीपल फॉर ट्रेनिंग? मेनी पीपल डोंट सेंड फॉर ट्रेनिंग बिकॉज़ ट्रेनिंग मींस रिस्क फैक्टर मोर. Because in every training program there is one tea break and time for networking. That tea is okay sir, but time for networking not okay sir. कितना मिलता? इतना मिलता, कहानी खत्म. 50 स्कूल है यहाँ पे, आप सब साइन कर लो MOU, देखो कौन सा टीचर मूव करता है. करो. This is where what happens. जब हम लीडरशिप लेवल में ठीक नहीं है तो फिर नीचे वाले का कैसे आएगा? हमारे पॉलिसीज ठीक नहीं है तो कैसे आएंगे? Now when you are going to do all this, these are all rubrics driven. Because there's a recording going on, otherwise I would have shown you the original document, what is work in progress. It is very, very beautifully devised. It talks about how many observation, how to observe, what to observe, when you go into classroom, which area to take, everything is designed in that book. So there is a lot of hard work which has gone into when it comes to teacher standard. The next important area, teacher itself is becoming a resource, and particularly French, certain subjects you will not get teachers now. And schools, please get ready, your economics of education is going to change. Why it will change, I will tell you. Because child will suddenly come and say, I want with psychology, with artificial intelligence and mathematics. हमने एकदम सेट करके रखा हुआ, एक टीचर, 2 सेक्शन, 2 क्लास, इकोनॉमिक ट्रिक. अब आपको इनके केमिस्ट्री टीचर के साथ 2 दिन प्यार करना तो उनसे ले लीजिए, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सो 5 को इकट्ठा हो जाइए, क्योंकि आपको रिसोर्सेस को, और आपकी खासियत फिर भी अच्छी है. हाँ, ये तो प्रॉब्लम है, मुझे पता नहीं, जब से मैं आया हूँ इस शहर में तब से मैंने ये देखा कि some of these Bistupur people, the people who drivers don't want to go from Bistupur to Tata or Telco drivers don't want to come to this side. Sir, उतना दूर है. मैं बोलता चल मेरे साथ बैंगलोर एक बार, चल मेरे साथ एक बार बैंगलोर, समझ में आएगा दूर की डेफिनेशन क्या होती है. It is all about mindset. So my request to you is that पहले सोच ये बदलो कि no school resource will be poached between yourselves. A. B. Even if you have a MOU between 5 schools, and share the resources, what stops? What stops? And that's what it is saying. अब देखिए स्कूल में सीबीएसई ने आप लोगों को क्लस्टर बनाया, क्लस्टर स्कूल्स। देखा कि दो मीटिंग में क्लस्टर में 5 लोग नहीं है, अब क्लस्टर वाले क्या करते हैं? सब लोग जाओ क्लस्टर मीटिंग में, एक ग्रुप फोटो लो और उसको अपलोड करो, है कि नहीं रूल बताओ सीबीएसई में? तो मतलब प्रिंसिपल्स पर विश्वास नहीं है। मैंने वही बोला सर, वो कलर टोन चेंज करके आप प्लेन साड़ियां पहन के करो, एक बार ग्रीन कर दो किसी के, एक बार रेड कर दो, चेंज कर दो, बोलो हमने 10 मीटिंग अटेंड कर ली। उस पे भी विश्वास नहीं होगा कि नहीं, वो देयर इज जीआईएस टैग दैट हैज टू बी अपलोडेड अलोंग विद द फोटो। All of us have read the story of Chuha to Billy to Kutta to somebody else taking care, and that's where the trust factor is. And this is the new policy expects you to do. कि share your resources. आपके पास एक पूरा क्राइटेरिया है, utilization of resources. Have you ever designed through it, thought through it, saying that how exactly for this curriculum framework this is required? How for this is required? Have you actually made any plan? I'm not very sure about it. And all this will be coming into school so-called excellence, and that's where the performance review will come. बेचारे टाटा वाले बोल के थक हो गए, रिजल्ट भरो, फिर उन्होंने 144 क्राइटेरिया, फिर उस 144 को मिला, फिर बोला ये आपके मिनिमम क्राइटेरिया है, इसको तो भरो कम से कम। अब जब ये करेगा सीबीएसई आपको, तब क्या करोगे बताओ? Actually speaking, Jamshedpur should be ahead of time if we had actually followed the TEEP way. Go and open this book Squaw, which is there on CBSE के वेबसाइट पे भी है, आप लोगों को सबको कॉपी मिली होगी सीबीएसई से। उस स्वा के हर क्राइटेरिया में उन्होंने रिजल्ट भी मांगा है कि नहीं?
Yes.
उसका परसेंटेज भी दिया हुआ है, कितना परसेंट रिजल्ट है। Actually, you should be leading the pack in the country by saying that we will tell you how this can be done. You should be saying that this is to be done. And if you have actually kind of looked at it, see, इसमें क्या नहीं है क्राइटेरिया आपके बताओ? Yeah, leadership also talks about one area. Management and governance is there. Curriculum, key processes. That's what we say now. Next, infrastructure, resource management, resources. Okay. Human resources, staff, inclusive practices for all this. There. और क्या रह गया? Beneficiary satisfaction. Yes. Customer satisfaction. Correct. Word बड़ा अच्छा word है. Somehow I love that word. Customer satisfaction. जो कष्ट से मर जाए वो है कस्टमर, जो मर जाएगा उसकी सेटिस्फैक्शन की बात ही करें। But in this criteria, it is not put as an independent criteria for every one of these. This is nothing but your survey to be done in your criteria. Perception survey जो करवाते हैं ना आप लोग criteria में, that is there. So well, beautifully designed, but still it is little compliance oriented. But even I would recommend कि अपने इन models को, इन assessments को don't use them as assessment. I know that there are few management committee members use this as a governance model. हर मीटिंग में हम स्टोरी टेलिंग नहीं करेंगे, हर मीटिंग में हम केवल 5 पॉइंट को रिव्यू करेंगे। एकेडमिक, को-करिकुलर, HR, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, फाइनेंस। इसके अलावा एक स्कूल में क्या होता है? ये 5 ही आइटम है। लेकिन हमारा बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि उसको कैसे लेके मटेरियलाइज करेगा। So until unless it becomes part of your governance, these mod, even this will become a failure, I can tell you. This तो करना पड़ेगा। You know, otherwise अगले साल के एफिलिएशन पे क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा। This is something like बंदूक रख के खड़ा हुआ है, करो या मत करो। But my request to the management and to the principal, please use any framework. TEEP use करना है, TEEP use करना, ये use करना है, ये use करना। But use that as a criteria for you. I know last 1.5 hours में ये सिचुएशन आ गई। सर करना क्या एनईपी में पता नहीं सर। कहाँ से शुरू करना है पता नहीं सर। NEP is good, but I can tell you there is no U-turn. There is no U-turn on this. Take it from me. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Not only this, आज से जो हम कर रहे हैं वैसे कर रहे हैं मॉडल के नाम पे। Frameworks will not help. Frameworks will not help because every framework is supported by a process. If you don't have processes very, very strongly devised, if you don't have processes very, very strongly defined, devised with measurement, every model will become a failure. आज नहीं, आज से 10 साल बाद. Because your success is in the process plus people. Then excellence will come, performance will come. People पे invest करो, process पे invest करो, performance आएगा. हमारा प्रॉब्लम है हम प्रोसेस किसी और के लिए करते हैं, टीचर पे इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहते हैं, तो परफॉर्मेंस कैसे आएगा? Think, please invest on it, people. And even if somebody becomes principal of other school, please put one more board in your school. High achievers आता है ना आपके स्कूल में, 10th में फर्स्ट रैंक कौन आया? 2022 में कितने हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर बाकी स्कूल में प्रिंसिपल बने? लिखो के नाम, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Let you be happy, no? At least you're look at become big brother or big sister, जो भी आप कहना चाहें अपने आप को। देखो वो प्रिंसिपल मेरी, ठीक है, छोटा शहर है, 10 स्कूल है, 20 स्कूल है, यही वाले अकेले के बनेंगे ना। आपने किसी को जिंदगी भर का बॉन्डेड लेबर तो नहीं बना के रखा हुआ है। So why are we even worried about it? And please go through that old, get over of that old model कि मेरे साथ ज्वाइन हुआ और मेरे साथ रिटायर हुआ। दोनों 3 दिन के डेट गैप में हुए, फिर वो 3 दिन का सीईओ जैसे बोलता है ना, फिर 3 दिन का प्रिंसिपल रिटायर हो गया। Let's be very, very clear. Please invest on people and processes. And once you do this, don't read 70 pages document. NEP करते समय हम लोग, it was actually in one of the discussions of Ministry of Education and PMO actually looked at the 300 and 400 plus document उठा के फेंक दिया। मतलब 400 पेज कोई पढ़ेगा? कुछ 70 पेज की डॉक्यूमेंट हो। हमारे लोगों ने इतना अच्छा किया, कवर के साथ 70 पेज की डॉक्यूमेंट आके चेक करके देखो। प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने 70 बोला तो हम 70 ही करेंगे। इतना अच्छा एडिटिंग किया, जो की पॉइंट्स थे वो मिसिंग हो गए इसमें। इसीलिए जाके मैं कहता हूँ गो बैक एंड रीड द ड्राफ्ट डॉक्यूमेंट, बिकॉज जो भी वहां ड्राफ्ट में लिखा है ना, वो सारे एक्शन हो रहे हैं एक-एक करके। जो ड्राफ्ट में लिखा है वो सब एक्शन हो रहा है। एंड प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड कि कल कोई कंसल्टेंट आएगा, आपको रॉकेट में बिठाएगा, आपके स्कूल को बदल देगा, नहीं हो सकता। शॉर्टकट्स विल नॉट हेल्प। एंड प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, एक और स्कूल नहीं खड़ा कर सकते हैं आप, खाली जो भी कर सकते हैं स्कैफोल्डिंग करके अगले 5 साल तक इंटरनली सिस्टम्स, प्रोसेसेस, करिकुलम पे, पीपल पे इन्वेस्ट करो। अगले 5 साल फोकस्ड एफर्ट करो। यू डोंट हैव अ चॉइस बिकॉज यू नीड टू एक्ट। अदरवाइज आपकी हालत ये हो, हाथ से मुंह में आते आते उप्स मोमेंट हो जाए। आई होप दैट लास्ट 1.5 hours प्लस जो भी मैंने टाइम स्पेंड किया, it helped in, because the purpose of this particular session was not a workshop, it was only to raise awareness, right awareness, and that was the intent. That was the intent. And if you start, if somewhere I have disturbed you and my request is that please ask them also, because at the end of the day they are also trying to experiment something, because you have something as a strength as Tatas are there with you in this city, which is not available for many people. My suggestion is if there are, a good principals forum or something like that, sit down together, make a wish list, walk up to them and say that these are the 10 things we require in next 10 months. And I will also help them if required. If they say कि हमको इसमें चाहिए, I'll send an expert who is known to me or whom I think is the best in the country. Because the aspiration of a corporate like Tata's is always to add value to the community wherever they are. So my request is, while all the surpluses, get pluses, all that is there, don't think that they have extra money to distribute. No. My suggestion is always to the corporates is, if somebody comes and seeks input, please support them. And you have a golden opportunity. Forget about the assessment, forget about the thing. Those things are something which will happen. लोग तभी तो बोलते हैं ना कि किसी की पूछो शादी कब हुई है, तो पहले 6 महीने में हाउ इज लाइफ, सर वेरी ब्राइट, फेस इज वेरी ब्राइट. 10 में पूछ के देखो, 25 में पूछ के देखो, 30 में चल रहा है. So the same thing will happen to you also. If any initiative, if you are not going to kind of go back and start changing your thinking process, then you will be able to find a difference. Then you will be able to find a difference. Right? But that particular note, what I would like to, any question answers, if you have, I will be more than happy. I don't know how much time is there. I know that I have exceeded time, but I think the purpose is that you were enthusiastic. Many of you never looked at your watches or went out for even toilet and water. Happy about it. Or is it, Vidya said it is too far. Yes, never went. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer the questions.
Sir, can
Yes.
you just give a quick glimpse of the 360?
Do you have time? 360-degree report card देखना आपको?
Yes.
My request is don't take the pictures. It is some companies which are requested for it.
So, Bankar.
So बंद कर दो और photographs मत लो because
I'm sure it was created with a lot of foresight, but I'll try to put my question into certain keywords. We
Correct.
look up to Finland for the education model.
no, I just said they are one country.
One country, but suddenly for past few years we've been looking at Finland.
No,
And
No.
No.
it is like it is only the reports PISA started doing now. So the reports have started coming now. The work was done for 40 years. पहले उन्होंने जो काम किया था उसका परिणाम आज मिल रहा है.
No, what I'm trying to say, sir, they are a very different demography. India differs sociologically, population-wise. So, if the document has a lot of foresight, what about the gap in unemployment? Because we are also talking about, the learning and the world of work, dignity of labor. I'm just trying to put key points.
Yeah, sure.
So, can you just?
Sure. See, what happens is, while this particular whole document was designed, it is not Control C, Control V. It is not Control C, Control V. They have taken a lot of Niti Aayog's data even before working on some of these things. There are some hard changes which are expected here. There are some hard changes. Maybe, you may have to really work quite a lot. क्योंकि अभी तक हमारे देश में इस तरह के changes, hockey stick changes जो बोलते हैं, growth suddenly जो growth change की बात है, वो change अभी तक नहीं हुए. अब होने वाले हैं. जब वो होने वाले हैं तो हमें accept करना पड़ेगा. I keep fighting. आपकी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं. आज keep fighting with the boards. SSC के साथ fight करता हूँ, CBSE के साथ fight करता हूँ. क्यों करता हूँ? इसीलिए करता हूँ कि इसके ओरिजिनल पर्पस को आप डिफीट मत करो. Suddenly I found one day one circular coming from CBSE that there will be only one examination in the year. When you go and talk to the people, there is a possibility of second exam also, which may be MCQ. So every board has their view to it. I am not against their view, but what we really need to look at it, there is a very beautiful document created, well researched document created. Can we implement that? I give you one small assessment. NCF कब निकला था हमारे पास? 2005. Okay, 2005 we got the National Curriculum Framework. कुछ मत कीजिए, आप सब यहाँ पे लीडरशिप रोल पे हैं. कल जाके अपने HODs या अपने स्टाफ को बोलिए, जो भी सब्जेक्ट आप पढ़ा रहे हैं, यदि वो सब्जेक्ट स्कूल में नहीं हो तो क्या होगा आपका? I will tell you, 99% of teachers will not be able to write why they come to teach that subject in your campus. Go back and try. It's not for you. It's for everybody here. Because when we don't know, this is where the verticalization is meant. When I talked about vertical, student, paucity of time I was kind of cutting down. It's a long area. It's like, you can go on episode after episode. But when you try to talk about verticalization, maths department from first standard or from LKG to 12 needs to align. It is not getting aligned. 12th वाला 10th को गाली देता है, 10th वाला 8th को देता है, 8th 5th को देता है, 5th 3rd को देता है, 3rd 1st को देता है. माँ को बुलाओ, माँ बोलती है बाप पे गया. That's how the responsibility is. That's how the whole department will work. Tell me. Maths department को ये नहीं मालूम होता कि 8th and 9th में क्या strategy use किए. You want a quick fix? I'll tell you. Go back and first verticalize your departments. And today is not a workshop. I would have actually asked you to write down what are the 5 strategies used to teach math in your school.
Unfortunately, I'm from a pre-primary.
It's okay. Now, see, again you are shying away with the responsibility. It's not about that. Sorry, it's not about that. When I am talking about a school, I am only talking about a school. See, don't listen. You raised a very pertinent question, because of which many others' doubts are getting clear. So don't get worried about it. If your principal is here?
I'm the principal.
Okay, you are the principal of pre-primary. अच्छा, अपना school है क्या?
Bali.
Okay, right, good. I'll talk about that later in the chat. But the whole thought process, what you really need to look at is that if we have not agreed what are the 5 strategies which we use in baggage Jamshed, then how will the naive bahu coming to your baggage Jamshed will know कि इस स्कूल का रीति रिवाज क्या है, या इस खानदान की रीति रिवाज क्या है. Every school is a khandan. Every teacher coming there is a bahu. That bahu has to follow the riti rivaj, otherwise divorce will happen. Are you able to understand what I am saying? So when I am not able to express the riti rivaj of my khandan, which is not documented anywhere, how somebody else will come and align to me? हमारी परेशानी ये है कि कोई एडमिशन के लिए आता है, वो वेरी गुड, केम फ्रॉम चेन्नई, नाइस, थैंक यू, बच्चा अच्छा, सो स्वीट. आप क्या करते हैं? पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन इंग्लिश. आर यू फ्री? Please join our PGT section. We have one vacancy for PGT. Application advertisement में क्या दिया था? Fully qualified school teachers. But हमारे पास English teacher नहीं है आज भी. आज English को तो छोड़ो. Social studies teachers are not there in the country. And we will have 5 lakh plus science teachers who will be shortage in the country. Wait and watch. This is the reality what we are going through, right? So I hope I have. So don't look at a piece. Look at the big picture. The contextualization, I said, no, it's a one-day thing. Some other day we do it. Any other question? No questions. It's all yours. Thank you.
So please. Thank you so much. Opening, thought-provoking, and I think our Jamshedpur educators love the way you connect with your visuals and your examples. I think that kind of helps us remember even the smallest things which you talk about. And I think we'll all go back home today taking something of what you said, and we are going to try, at least I will try and be behind all the people here to see what can be, the takeaway and where they can start working in their schools to align to the MEP. And anybody who's read the TEEP concise criteria of this year will know that the complete alignment to what Sir has been talking about today. So thank you very much. Thank you to each and every person here who's made the time and effort to be present and to listen and participate.
Vidya, can I have a couple of feedbacks quickly, because we are not going to do it. Just stand up and just say what was your experience?
Anything that you found very interesting on you can share.
Quickly. I know that we are late, but thoda aur chale.
I thought there's a lot of work that needs to get done now.
Okay, good.
I like your integration example.
Okay.
It's much clear to us.
School profile of each and every child has to be maintained from LKG till 12. That was that which we are not actually doing.
We are doing it, we are only giving the report card.
Yeah, that.
We are not taking the soft aspects of the kid. Okay, good. What else?
The assessments of class 3, 5 and 8, the way you explained how it's actually going to be, that was actually an eye-opener.
Good. Gentlemen, I think too many ladies voices. बाद में मैं partial हो गया करके मत बोलता. Okay. Yes.
I think setting of a campus, which you told that I think is, we have to think about it.
Yeah, I think you, at least you are in a small town, or, sorry, I should not say city, because you know, कुछ लोगों को बुरा लगता है जब भी मैं बोलता हूँ small town, so it's okay. You are accessible. When I say small town, it takes very limited time to travel from one corner to others. Luckily, you have Tatas who have created an archery ground, a football ground, a cricket ground. You have so much facility around. So schools actually don't need to create, is my thought. You can actually have a right MOU with them, timing MOU. You may have to make your timetables little different, but I think you should be able to do it quite well. You are in a project city or a Tata city, so here it should be much more easier. But in a place like Bangalore, it is actually needed. In a place like Bombay, you don't know. Municipality, BBMP, that
BMC.
Mumbai, BMC, corporation grounds, they have a timetable. They have a timetable. So they actually sign MOU, आपसे 10 से 11, उनसे 11 से 12. So they have a challenge. So that's a luxury for us. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes? Okay, fine. That's all.
Thank you to the school leadership teams, the SMC members, the principals, faculty who have been here today. Thank you to CFE for the excellent arrangement, and to Omega for, you know, pitching in right at the end and helping us to record this. And I would request Dr. Pankaj Kumar, Chief TQM and CQA, to please come up and present a token to our speaker.
And thanks to Tatas for getting me here again. I know that I think many people who have attended my session know me, that I am like that Vetal of Vikram Vetal. So I keep coming here to Jamshedpur. Thank you very much for getting me here.
Thank you so much. Please don't go without having some tea and snacks and interacting with each other and Dr. Sendil, Dr. Pankaj and each other. It's going to be very valuable. Thank you.